Hi, my name is Froilan Serrano, and this is my TED Talk over verbal violence. Hope you like it. We've all heard the adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Yet name-calling does hurt, especially when the person doing it is a parent, a teacher, or a coach. I am subjected to verbal violence and I undergo it at least once a week. Who verbally abuses me? My parents, of course. They do it to me because they think I don't put in the extra effort. But let me tell you something about verbal violence. It hurts, and children can be affected the most. Healthy Day published an article discussing verbal violence. Hollering might strike you as an natural and effective form of discipline if you were brought up with it, but for children, it can cause emotional trauma that results in a long-lasting harm. Among other effects, verbal abuse can undermine your child's self-esteem, damage his ability to trust and form relationships, and chip away at academic and social skills. In fact, current research shows that verbal abuse of children can be just as destructive emotionally as physical and sexual abuse, and puts them in a much risk for depression and anxiety. So what is verbal abuse? Well, some forms of verbal abuse are name-calling, belittling, swearing, and insulting, like, for example, you are stupid and you're a rotten kid. Another form is rejecting or threatening with abandonment, like, I wish you would never been born, I should put you up for adoption. This kind of verbal abuse creates a sense that your child isn't wanted in the family. Another form is threatening bodily harm. Studies have linked verbal aggression and physical aggression. A Harvard study found, for example, that parents who yell frequently are the ones most likely to hit frequently, and vice versa. Even if you don't act on violent threats, they may make your child fear and distrust you. Scapegoating or blaming is another form, such as, you're the reason this family is such a mess, if I didn't have to take care of you, I could have had a better life. These are all forms. This is what I would think would be probably the worst type of verbal abuse that a child can have, because the child would think that he's a bad person and deserves to be unhappy. So yeah, moving on. In Ralph Ellison's novel The Invisible Man, the main protagonist, I.M., aka Invisible Man, is subjected to much verbal abuse in the beginning of the novel. The white community does not care for I.M. or other black people. The white folk talk to them as if they were still in slave era, and they call them names, disrespect them, and above all else, treat them very badly by calling them niggers, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, in this picture, I really like this picture. In any case, moving on. In Patricia Evans, a person that I found who I think is the perfect example of a great leader is Patricia Evans, who is the author of the book Verbal Abuse Survivors Speak Out. She's the perfect leader, and she is the perfect leader for this TED Talk, which, for one, that I think is because she cares much for those who have been subjected to verbal abuse, and she wants to prevent others from being verbally abused. In Evans' book, she explains how verbal abuse precedes domestic violence, about the transition from verbal abuse to battering, how abusers control their partner's space, time, and resources, how the connection between the inner and outer world, between action and result, disintegrates, and how the partner may then feel paralyzed and unable to act, what categories of abuse women experience most, how to cope with the person who abuses you, how to recover the strength and confidence lost from the abuse, what to watch out for in a new relationship, and how to go beyond abusive ones, how to look for therapists, and how to start a support group. So this book is really helpful, and it also even lists agencies to call for help and referrals in every state in the U.S. So yeah, that's pretty helpful. So for me, I will be a leader for this topic on verbal. I will be a leader for this topic because I want to speak out against verbal abusers and everything, because I've been verbally abused. If I am verbally abused once a week from my parents, imagine what other people who have it worse than me. So I want to make my voice heard to all of those who have been verbally abused. That way other people can help by supporting friends or family who are currently verbally abused by someone. This would be a great step to prevent verbal abuse from becoming more of a problem in today's society. A way others can help is by telling them you love them or telling them that they did a good job from time to time. Those simple phrases will help them feel like someone actually cares for them. But if you are one who is trying to avoid verbally abusing someone who you care for, here are some ways you can calm yourself down. Take a time out. This method works as well for adults as it does for kids. If your child can be left alone, go to another room. If he's too young for that, try walking to the other end of the room. Then take a few slow, deep breaths and seek to let out and let go of the situation emotionally. Wait 5 minutes, or if you need more, go ahead and take it. You have plenty time. You got plenty of time. You have the whole time in the world before talking to your child. Try to deal with your present rather than letting all of the stressful incidents that have piled up overcome your emotions. And lastly, share your feelings of resentment or anger with a spouse or friend. With me, I talk with a few of my friends, so that's one way. So that one's really recommended because it really does help a lot. And so yes, those are a few tips that you got that people can. Yeah, I would recommend those tips because those can really make a difference in someone who has been verbally abused. So yeah, that's it for my TED Talk. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, bye.